we're going to look at how to graph a quadratic that's written in vertex form. Vertex form means we got these parentheses going on, the square's on the outside like this. You might have a number plus or minus out here, you might have a number multiplied by like this. But basically what's happening is we're messing with that x a little bit. We're still going to expect to see when we graph this beautiful U-shaped graph, which we call a parabola. It's still going to have the symmetry, it's still going to have a vertex. The only difference is, unlike before, where the vertex was always at 0, that middle value for this is not going to be 0. We're not going to try to graph this by putting a 0 here and -1 and 1 and -2 and 2, because 0 is not the middle value for this function. We need to find a better way to find that middle value. So the way we're going to do that is think about why we use 0 for this all the time. And the basic reason is that vertex is the lowest point. And so we were trying to find out what would make this value of y the lowest. What could I square that would give me the lowest possible number? And if you think about that for a few moments, if you square positive numbers, you get positive numbers. So if you put positive numbers in for x, y is going to be positive. But also, if you square negative numbers, you get positive numbers. So if we put negative numbers in for x, we're still getting positive numbers. So if I want this y value to be as small as possible, what I actually have to square is 0. If I let x equal 0, then I get 0 times 0 is 0, y is 0. Y is not ever going to be anything smaller than 0, so that'll give me this lowest number here. So let's try to apply that idea to this vertex form. What value of, first of all, what are we squaring? When we have it written in vertex form, that squared talks to what's directly beneath it, which is just these parentheses. So we're looking at what's inside of here. What value of x would make this equal 0? If you're thinking -1, you're right on. This means I'm going to put -1 right in the middle of my table. I'm going to build my table out from here. So I'm going to think of the two numbers that come right after -1 and the two that come just before. Now I hope it's clear that -1, even though it's not 0, this is going to be the middle of our table because that's what's going to make a vertex pop out, because that's what makes this the absolute smallest thing it can be. Now I'm going to pause my recording and fill out these calculations over here. I'm not going to write in these calculations because my pen doesn't do such a good job, but you should make sure that you can get those same calculations too. So maybe pause the video and work these things out. I'll give you a few seconds to get to the pause button. These were the y values I ended up with, and these are some of my intermediate calculations. I didn't really show you how I got the 4, 1, 0, 1, or 4, but basically this came from, I think, squaring -2, squaring -1, squaring 0, squaring 1, squaring 2. But the point again being that, like, this is the middle of my table, and then there's symmetry with these. These are the same, these are the same, and if you were to go to graph these, which I'm not going to do on this screen, but you would see a beautiful upside down parabola. And the whole point being that we can find that middle value by looking at this and figuring out what value of x would make this 0. This just the parentheses. Good luck with this moving forward.